Welcome back to WION World is One. You're watching Speed News with me, Vidur Kathuria. Let's get started. US President Donald Trump said there was a big force going towards Iran and he was watching the country very closely. Trump's remarks came aboard Air Force One on his way to the US from Europe after attending the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. A US military aircraft carrier strike group and other assets will reportedly arrive in West Asia in the coming days. American warships, including the aircraft carrier USS Abraham Lincoln, several destroyers and fighter aircraft started moving from the Asia Pacific last week as tensions between Iran and the US soared following a severe crackdown on protests across Iran in recent months. European Council Chief Antonio Costa says European leaders have serious doubts about the scope of US President Donald Trump's Board of Peace. However, Costa said they are ready to work with the US and the newly founded body in Gaza. Meanwhile, Trump withdrew invitation for Canada to join his Board of Peace initiative aimed at resolving global conflicts. Trump first proposed the Board of Peace last September when he announced his plan to end the Gaza war. He later made it clear the board's remit would be expanded beyond Gaza to tackle other conflicts worldwide. Top US negotiators, including Steve Witkoff, met Russian President Vladimir Putin in Moscow to discuss US-backed proposal to end the Ukraine war. Russian envoy Kirill Dmitriev said that President Vladimir Putin had held an important discussion with 3 US envoys at late-night talks in the Kremlin. Dmitriev took part on the Russian side along with Kremlin foreign policy aide Yuri Ushakov. However, details of the discussion have been withheld. This as Kyiv has announced it is close to finalizing a deal with the US on security guarantees. US President Donald Trump has said the US would work with the NATO on Greenland security. Trump said the plan he has for Greenland would be well received, adding that more details will be revealed in the coming weeks. Meanwhile, EU leaders heaved a sigh of relief over Trump's U-turn on Greenland as they met for an emergency summit in Brussels. They said they want an EU-US trade deal to be back on track. European Commission Chief Ursula von der Leyen has remarked that EU was successful in being firm but non-escalatory with the US. She referred to Trump's backing down on threats to acquire Greenland. She also said the European Commission will soon propose a substantive investment package for Greenland, the semi-autonomous territory of Denmark. Danish PM Mette Frederiksen has said Denmark has asked NATO to be more present in the Arctic. Her remarks come ahead of an EU emergency summit in Brussels. This comes amid repeated threats by the US President Donald Trump to control Greenland, a semi-autonomous Danish territory. Meanwhile, Trump abruptly stepped back from his tariff threats on 8 European nations and ruled out using force to take Greenland. He had further suggested that a deal was in fact in sight. Venezuela's acting president Delcy Rodriguez and her influential brother have reportedly assured US and Qatari officials that they would welcome President Nicolas Maduro's departure. According to an exclusive report by The Guardian, sources say that the assurances were conveyed through intermediaries. Rodriguez was sworn in on January 5th as acting president following Maduro's removal. Contacts between US officials and Delcy Rodriguez, then vice president, reportedly began in fall and continued after a pivotal phone call between President Donald Trump and Nicolas Maduro in late November. During that call, Trump insisted Maduro leave the country. Maine's Democratic governor challenged federal immigration officials to provide arrest warrants, real-time arrest numbers, and basic information about who is being detained in a sweeping enforcement operation in her state. She said residents have been left largely in the dark as fear spreads through immigrant communities. She alleged that state officials do not know where detainees are being held. The enforcement activity has sparked anxiety in Maine's largest cities, including Portland and Lewiston, home to sizable immigrant and refugee populations, particularly from African nations. European Union leaders held a minute of silence in honor of victims of several recent train crashes in Spain as they met in Brussels for talks on EU-US relations. A commuter train collided with the crane arm that swung into its path in southeastern Spain on Thursday. This has been reported as the country's fourth rail accident in less than a week. This comes just days after a high-speed train collision near Ademuz in the southern Andalusia region killed at least 43 people. On Tuesday, a commuter train derailed after a containment wall fell on the track due to heavy rain near the city of Barcelona, killing the driver and seriously injuring 4 passengers. US President Donald Trump blamed a noticeable bruise on his left hand to his high intake of aspirin. The bruise appeared after he bumped a table at the World Economic Forum in Davos. Trump told reporters aboard Air Force One as he returned to the US that his aspirin dosage makes him bruise easily. In a statement, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said Trump hit his hand on the corner of the signing table during his Board of Peace announcement. 4 doctors, 2 surgeons, and 2 internists reportedly agreed it was possible that aspirin contributed to the bruising. US President Donald Trump has sued banking giant JP Morgan Chase and its CEO Jamie Dimon for $5 billion. He reportedly alleged that JP Morgan stopped providing banking services to him and his businesses for political reasons after he left office in January 2021. The lawsuit filed in a Florida court also alleges that JP Morgan abruptly closed multiple accounts in February 2021 with just 60 days notice and no explanation. Overall, Trump claims JP Morgan and Dimon cut the president and his businesses off from millions of dollars, disrupted their operations, and forced Trump and the businesses to urgently open bank accounts elsewhere. Tesla CEO and former Trump aide Elon Musk joked about attending the World Economic Forum in Davos because of Trump's Board of Peace. During his address to a forum, Musk indicated that Trump equaled his idea of peace to little pieces of land which he aims to capture, including Greenland and Venezuela. Musk then added that all he wanted was peace in real sense. Musk, whose companies include Tesla, SpaceX, and Starlink, also addressed what he felt the future may look like. He gave a high-level overview of his companies and said that robotics and artificial intelligence will set the tone for the future. The death toll in the deadly mall fire in Pakistan's Karachi has climbed to 67 after more charred bodies were recovered. Authorities have now collected DNA samples from 50 people to help confirm the identities of the bodies recovered from the rubble of the perished shopping plaza. The fire broke out in the basement of the Gul shopping plaza, a wholesale and retail market, and quickly spread to the rest of the building in the Sadr area. The fire was brought under control only after 36 hours had passed. Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi has dissolved parliament ahead of a snap election on February 8th. The move is an attempt to capitalize on her popularity to help governing party regain ground after major losses in recent years. However, this delays a vote on a budget that aims at boosting a struggling economy and addressing soaring prices. Elected in October as Japan's first female leader, Takaichi has been in office only 3 months. However, she has seen strong approval ratings of about 70%. Amid reports of arrests, detentions and violent incidents in Uganda post-elections, the United Nations said that Secretary General Antonio Guterres is closely monitoring the situation. Guterres was reportedly concerned by developments following the January 15 vote and urged all actors to exercise restraint. He emphasized the need to respect the rule of law and Uganda's international human rights obligations, such as rights to freedom of expression, association and peaceful assembly. These comments come as opposition leader Bobi Wine has disputed the election outcome and said security forces had targeted him and his supporters. He had warned that nobody is safe in the country in the present climate. A landslide swept through a busy campground on New Zealand's North Island following heavy rain a day earlier. The landslide hit Mount Maunganui on the island's east coast, bringing soil and rubble down on the busy campsite. Police said up to 9 people may be unaccounted for, including children, but there was no immediate confirmation of fatalities at the campground. Meanwhile, New Zealand Prime Minister Christopher Luxon says the country is full of grief as search operations continue. The landslide followed days of heavy rain in the town of Papamoa. A separate landslide killed 2 people on Thursday. Damage from Cyclone Harry has exceeded $1 billion across southern Italy. This as violent winds and storm surges battered coastlines, ports and infrastructure and prompted large-scale rescue and safety operations by the Coast Guard. In Italy, the storm hit hardest in Sicily and Sardinia, where hundreds of millions of euros in losses to roads, harbours, beachfront facilities and productive activities have been reported. As the cyclone swept through coastal areas of Sicily, Sardinia, Calabria and Puglia, the Italian Coast Guard activated an emergency operational system, deploying more than 100 naval, land and air assets and over 450 personnel in round-the-clock operations. A new analysis from Watershed Investigation and The Guardian shows that 50 of the world's 100 biggest cities are drawing water at levels too close or beyond what their regions can sustainably supply. 39 of these cities sit in areas of extremely high water stress. Among them are Beijing, New York, Los Angeles, Rio and Delhi. Cities including London, Bangkok and Jakarta are classified as highly stressed. Water stress occurs when withdrawals for households, industry and infrastructure exceed available supply. It is often the result of long-term mismanagement, now compounded by climate breakdown. An unusually brutal winter storm is set to pummel more than 160 million Americans as a stretched polar vortex sends a devastating blast of Arctic air, bringing heavy snows and freezing rains. Weather forecast shows winter storm Fern is likely to engulf an area well over half the length of the US, stretching from Texas and the Great Plains region to the mid-Atlantic and northeastern states. Scientists say the increasing frequency of such disruptions of the polar vortex may be linked to climate change, even though the debate is not yet settled and natural variability also plays a role. Light rain and thunderstorm lashed parts of Delhi NCR, bringing relief to the surging pollution levels over the past 1 week. However, the air quality in many places continues to be poor. According to the IMD, the wet spell is likely to cause a fall in temperatures in the coming days, as the weather system is likely to bring heavy snowfall in the western Himalayan region. A fresh western disturbance is likely to impact the region from January 26th. Asian markets posted modest gains in early Friday trading as investors waited for the Bank of Japan's policy decision, with rates widely expected to stay unchanged. MSCI's Asia Pacific Index outside Japan rose about 0.4%, while Japan's Nikkei inched up 0.2%. Market sentiment was supported by a continued rebound on Wall Street, where US stocks extended gains as the S&P 500 added 0.5% and the Nasdaq jumped nearly 1%. South Korea led regional gains, with the Kospi up 1.1% for a third straight session, building on its historic move above the 5,000 level. However, tech stocks face some pressure after Intel forecast weaker earnings, dragging down chip-related shares. Oil prices fell about 2% on Thursday, sliding to a one-week low as geopolitical tensions eased. Brent crude settled near $64 a barrel. The decline followed US President Donald Trump softening his stance on Greenland and Iran, reducing fears of supply disruptions. Trump said the US had secured permanent access to Greenland through a NATO framework and signaled he hoped to avoid further military action in Iran. Markets were also watching developments around Russia and Ukraine, where progress towards a possible peace deal could eventually lift sanctions on Russian oil, adding more supply to global markets. Further pressure came from US inventory data showing crude stockpiles rose by 3.6 million barrels last week, far more than expected. Gold prices surged to a fresh record on Thursday, breaking above $4,900 an ounce for the first time, driven by geopolitical tensions, a weaker US dollar, and expectations of Federal Reserve rate cuts. Spot gold hit a peak near $4,918, while US gold futures settled up more than 1.5%. Safe haven demand also rose after President Donald Trump said the US had secured permanent access to Greenland through a NATO framework, though details remain unclear. Silver and platinum extended their record-setting rally, with silver topping $96 an ounce and platinum jumping more than 4% to a new high. Palladium also climbed over 3%. The US dollar is on track for its worst weekly performance in a year, pressured by investor unease and President Donald Trump's shifting stance on Greenland that rattled markets. The dollar index is down about 1% this week, its weakest showing since January last year. The euro held near 3-week highs, while sterling hovered close to a 2-week peak. Analysts warn the episode has raised fresh concerns about US credibility and the dollar's long-term reserve status. In Asia, the Japanese yen remained under pressure ahead of the Bank of Japan's policy decision later on Friday. The yen traded near 158.5 per dollar, close to levels that have previously sparked intervention fears. Apple has asked an Indian court to stop the country's antitrust watchdog from seeking its global financial records as part of an investigation into its App Store policies. While it challenges the underlying law's validity, Apple is locked in a high-stakes legal battle with the Competition Commission of India, whose investigation accused the company of abusing its position on its App Store. The US tech giant has said it fears it could be fined up to $38 billion if the watchdog uses its global turnover calculation for penalties. Two major US investors in Coupang Inc. have said that they have petitioned the US government to investigate the South Korean government and potentially impose trade remedies over what they describe as discriminatory treatment of the e-commerce company. Tech investors Green Oaks and Altmeter said they have also filed arbitration claims against South Korea under the US-Korea Free Trade Agreement, accusing Seoul of mounting a campaign against Coupang following a consumer data breach that has caused billions of dollars in losses for investors. Spotify has rolled out Prompted Playlist, an artificial intelligence-powered feature in the US and Canada that allows premium users to tailor playlists using their listening habits and commands. After its successful run in New Zealand, the expansion is the latest in a series of AI-powered updates on the Swedish streaming platform as it looks to attract more users to its subscription plans from the free tier. Spotify said the new feature would position users as active participants who direct the algorithm using their own words and intentions. Google is making its AI search more personalized. The tech giant has introduced personal intelligence to AI mode, allowing it to use data from Gmail and Google Photos to deliver individualized responses. The feature was first launched in the Gemini app, connecting across Google services including Gmail, Photos, Search, and YouTube history. The opt-in feature is now rolling out to Google AI Pro and AI Ultra subscribers in the US. Google says personal intelligence will help users get more relevant recommendations for travel, shopping, and daily tasks by analyzing their digital activity. Clothing and fitness data company Under Armour is investigating claims of a major data breach after a cyber criminal posted millions of customer records on a hacker forum. The data was allegedly stolen in a November cyber attack, which the Everest ransomware group claimed responsibility for on its dark web site. The breach came into the spotlight after breach tracking platform Have I Been Pwned notified around 72 million users that their data may have been compromised. According to reports, the stolen data includes names, email addresses, gender details, dates of birth, approximate location, and purchase information. According to Wired reports, Google DeepMind is bringing in the CEO and top engineers from voice AI startup Hume AI under a new licensing agreement. The move is an acquired where Google is absorbing talent rather than buying the company, a strategy that helps big tech avoid regulatory scrutiny. Hume AI will continue operating and supplying its technology to other AI firms, while its core team joins DeepMind to enhance Gemini's voice features.